Long before the first cities rose, long before humans ruled the earth, the land was alive with wild winds, giant trees, and creatures that roamed free. In a time when the world was still young, a small group of black Australopithecus moved quietly through the deep forest near Fire Valley. The leader of the group was an old male named Raku. His face was marked by time and struggle. His eyes were sharp like a hunting bird. He walked slowly but with purpose. Behind him followed the others, young ones, mothers, and hunters. The group had no fire, no tools, but they had each other. And they had something no other creature had: the power to think, to remember, and to plan. One among them was a young male named Toma. He was not the strongest, nor the tallest, but his eyes often looked to the sky. He noticed the stars. He watched the shadows of flying creatures and listened to the wind whisper through the trees. That morning, Toma was walking near a cliffside when he saw something strange. A group of birds flew in a circle, cawing loudly. Then, the ground under his feet shook slightly. He dropped to his knees and placed his hand on the dirt. The earth was warm. Too warm. Toma stood and ran back to the group. "Something is moving beneath the ground," he told Raku. The old leader raised his eyebrows. "Did you see it?" "No," Toma said. "But I felt it." Raku nodded slowly. "The ground speaks sometimes. Long ago, it cracked open and swallowed part of the forest. That was the first fire. Some say it came from the sky." Toma had heard the stories before. Old tales whispered at night. Stories of silver things falling from the stars, of giant beings made of stone and light. Most in the group called them lies, but Toma never did. Later that day, while the group rested near the river, Toma wandered off. He climbed the ridge near the valley. From there, he could see far. His eyes searched the land, and then he saw it. A black shape, tall and still, stood between two broken trees. It looked like a stone statue, but smoother. Sunlight bounced off it. No animals went near it. No birds sat on it. Toma climbed down carefully. He stepped closer to the strange object. His heart beat faster. The thing had arms but no face. Its body was hard like cold rock. He reached out and touched it. At once, something strange happened. A flash of light appeared in his mind. He saw a giant sky full of stars. He saw strange beings walking in lines. He saw a battle, fire falling from the sky, and black creatures with red eyes. Toma fell back, gasping. The images were gone. His head hurt. His hands shook. But he remembered every picture clearly. He ran back to the others. "I found something," he said. Raku looked up. "What did you find?" "It was not made by nature," Toma said. "It was standing, tall and still. It gave me a vision." The others laughed. "Maybe he ate the wrong fruit," one said. But Raku did not laugh. He stood and placed his hand on Toma's shoulder. "Where?" "I will show you." They followed him to the spot. When they reached the broken trees, the object was still. There, standing silently, Raku walked around it. He touched it with care. "This is not from here," he said. "It is older than we know." Then they heard a sound. It came from under the ground. A low hum, like the growl of a giant animal. The earth shook again, and small rocks fell from the ridge. Suddenly, the object moved. Its arms turned slightly. A light blinked where its face should be. The group stepped back. Fear rose in their hearts. Some ran, but Riku stood still. "Do not fear. This is not alive like us. It is something different. Something forgotten." The object stopped moving. It went silent again. Toma looked up. "Why was it here? Why now?" Raku said nothing for a long moment. Then he spoke. "Long ago, before even our bones walked, the sky opened. Something came down. Great fire followed. It is said the fire gave birth to strange creatures. Maybe this is one of them." Toma looked at the others. "Then we must remember. We must know where we came from." One young female, Mira, stepped forward. But if these things are waking up, are we in danger? Raku nodded slowly. Perhaps. Or perhaps we are the ones who must rise. That night, Toma sat near the edge of the valley. He looked up at the stars. In his mind, the images returned: sky battles, red lights, giant machines, and screams. The world was not as simple as he had thought. The past was not gone. It was only sleeping. And now, it was waking. Morning light fell softly over the dry land. The sun rose above the rocky cliffs of Fire Valley. Thin mist covered the forest edges. Birds called from the trees, and insects buzzed in the warm air. But something was different. The ground felt strange. The air carried a whisper that no one could explain. Toma sat on a high rock, watching the valley below. He had not slept much. His mind was filled with the vision he saw after touching the strange black object. He still remembered the silver shapes, the red lights, the fire in the sky. The images felt real, like memories, not dreams. Behind him, Mira climbed up and sat beside him. She carried a small fruit in her hand and offered it. Toma took it silently. "You were quiet all night," she said. Toma nodded. "Something is happening. That thing we found was not just a stone. It remembered me." Mira looked at the valley. "You think it will move again?" Toma thought for a moment. "I don't know. But when I touched it, I saw others. Not just one. Many, and they were not asleep forever." Mira stayed silent. Then she said, "We should tell the others to move. This place may not be safe." "They won't listen," Toma replied. "They think I dream too much." Mira smiled a little. "Maybe you do. But your dreams are strange. Strange in a way that feels important." Far below, the old leader Raku stood near the group's resting spot. He looked up at the sky, then down at the dry earth. He had seen many seasons, many changes, but this felt like something new. He remembered old words passed down by voice words about fire from the sky, bones that shined, and voices that spoke without sound. Raku raised his hand and called the group together. Toma and Mira climbed down to join them. "We must talk," Raku said. "What we found yesterday is not from this land. It is older than our fathers' fathers." Toma touched it and saw things none of us understand, but I believe him. There is truth in what he says. A few in the group looked uneasy. One of the hunters, Kuro, stepped forward. He had strong arms and sharp eyes. "Are we not safe here?" Kuro asked. "We have water. We have food. Why leave because of one rock?" Raku answered calmly, "Because the rock is not just a rock. It is part of something greater, and I fear that more of it may wake soon." Kuro shook his head. "Fear should not lead us. If danger comes, we fight." Raku nodded. "Yes, but to fight well, we must understand what we face. These are not beasts of claw and tooth. They are something else." The group murmured among themselves. Some agreed. Others did not. Suddenly, the ground shook again. Dust rose from the valley floor. A loud thump echoed across the land. All eyes turned to the direction of the sound. Toma ran ahead, Mira beside him. The others followed as they reached a narrow cliff path. They saw it. Another black figure, tall and still, stood half buried in the earth. But this one was not quiet. Its chest glowed red. Light blinked from a single eye in its head. It moved one arm slowly, then stopped. Mira whispered, "It's waking." Toma stared at it. "This is what I saw in my vision." The figure turned its head slightly, as if scanning the air. Suddenly, it spoke. The voice was deep, cold, and strange. It did not come from a mouth, but from inside the air. "Target match found. Species identified. Primitive. Threat level low. Observation mode activated." The group stepped back, some falling to the ground in fear. They did not understand the words, but they felt the power behind them. Raku stood firm. "What does it want?" Toma stepped forward. "I think it's watching us, learning. It called us primitive. The black figure did not move again. Its red light blinked slowly. It made no sound. Kuro picked up a heavy stone and threw it. The stone hit the figure's leg and bounced off. In an instant, the red light grew brighter. The figure raised its arm. A loud tone filled the valley. Warning. Hostile action detected. Response mode preparing. Toma shouted, "Stop! Don't attack it. We don't know what it can do." Raku raised his hand. "All of you, back away, slowly." The group moved back, hearts pounding, but the figure did not move again. After a moment, the red light faded. Its body became still once more. Raku looked at the sky. This is only the beginning. That night, the group stayed far from the valley edge. They built no fire. The stars above were cold and quiet. No one slept well. Toma sat beside Raku. "Do you still believe we can stay here?" Toma asked. Raku shook his head. "No, we must move. We must find a safer place. But we must also learn. These things, they are not just machines. They are memories of something older than us." "Do you think more of them will wake?" Toma asked. "I do," Raku said. "And some may not be as still as this one." Toma looked at the horizon. His heart felt heavy, but strong. Something inside him was changing. The old world was not gone, it was waking up. And he knew that one day, they would have to face it, not just to survive, but to rise. Far across the land, deep below the earth, other machines stirred in the dark. They waited, silent and cold. But not forever. Fire Valley was quiet, but the silence was not peaceful. The sky held a gray light as if the sun was hiding. Wind blew across the dry rocks, whispering warnings in the ears of those who listened. Toma stood near a tree at the edge of the ridge. His eyes were fixed on the black figure below. The machine that had woken yesterday had not moved since then, but its glowing red eyes still blinked every few seconds. It was watching, waiting. Behind him, the rest of the group packed their things. Raku had made the decision. They would leave Fire Valley and move toward the river forest. It was a place they knew. A place without machines. But Toma could not walk away so easily. Mira walked up and stood beside him. "We are ready to move," she said. Toma nodded. "But I keep thinking, if one machine is awake, more will come." Mira looked at the figure below. "You really believe the past is coming back?" "I do," he said. "I saw it. Fire falling from the sky. Creatures with silver bones. They are not gone. They are waking." Mira placed her hand on his shoulder. "We must survive first. Then we can think about what to do." They joined the group as they began the journey east. Raku led them through the trees, walking with steady steps. The forest near the river was still 2 days away. They moved quietly, always listening, always watching the sky. As the sun began to fall behind the hills, they reached a place where tall grass grew near black stones. They decided to rest there. The air was cooler. The night birds called from the trees, but Toma could not sleep. He walked to the edge of the camp. Looking back toward Fire Valley, he saw no lights, no sounds. Just stillness. Then he heard a low hum. It came from deep in the earth, soft at first, then louder. The stones near his feet began to shake slightly. He turned around and ran back to the group. "Wake up," he said. "Something is coming." Raku sat up quickly. "What did you hear?" Toma pointed toward the hills. "The ground is making noise again, like before." Suddenly, a bright light shot into the sky from the direction of Fire Valley. It flashed red, then white, then vanished. The group stood frozen. "What is it?" one of the mothers asked. Before Raku could answer, another light rose from the trees nearby. This one was closer, and it was moving toward them. "Run," Raku said. Into the forest, the group began to run. Feet hit the earth. Leaves snapped. Branches scratched their arms. Behind them, the light followed. It flew above the trees, moving fast and smooth. Toma looked back. The light came from a flying object. It was silver, round and quiet. No wings, no smoke. Just a cold light under it. The flying machine passed over the group, then stopped in the air. It shined its light on them. Mira pulled Toma behind a tree. The others hid under rocks and bushes. The light scanned the area. Then the voice came again. The same cold voice from before. Multiple life forms detected. Species confirmed. Australopithecus. Level of threat. Monitoring. The flying object hovered in place. Then, a second machine walked out from the trees. It was tall, black, and shaped like the one in Fire Valley. It moved toward the group's trail. Looking for them. Toma whispered. It's tracking us, Raku whispered back. We split up. Two groups. Confuse it. The group divided quietly. Raku took one path with half the people. Toma and Mira led the others deeper into the trees. The machine followed Raku's path. Toma led his group toward the river. His heart beat fast. He could still hear the flying object above the trees. It searched the area but could not see them under the thick leaves. Finally, after hours of careful walking, they reached the edge of the river forest. Trees here were taller. Water flowed slowly between smooth stones. Birds sang again. The danger was behind them, for now the group sat to rest. Toma walked to the water and knelt beside it. He stared at his reflection. His face looked tired, but his eyes were strong. Mira joined him. We made it. Yes, Toma said, but they will keep coming. Why are they after us? She asked. I don't think they are hunting us. Not yet, Toma said. I think they are watching, measuring, learning. And if they decide we're a threat, Toma stood, then we must be ready. We must become more than what we are. Back near Fire Valley, the black machine stood still again. Its head turned toward the river forest. It spoke to the air. Target relocated. Memory data matched. Early species remains found in core systems. Report prepared. Awaiting command from central source. Deep underground, a large structure lit up. Lights moved across its walls. Strange words appeared on a screen. One message blinked. Genetic link confirmed. Revival protocol active. The machines were not only waking up. They were remembering. They remembered the old war. They remembered the ones who had built them, the ones who had vanished. And they saw something in Toma and his people that matched the past. The machines did not just see animals. They saw a lost bloodline. And now they had a new plan. The river forest was wide and green. The trees were tall, and their leaves made a roof over the land. Birds flew above, and small animals ran through the grass. The air was cool, and the sound of the water brought some peace to the hearts of the group. Toma sat beside the river with Mira. They had made a small shelter using branches and leaves. The group was resting after the long escape from Fire Valley. Some were sleeping. Others were gathering food or cleaning their wounds. But Toma's mind was not at rest. He kept thinking about the machines, about the red lights, the voices, the flying object, and the way the ground had shaken. He remembered what the machine had said. It had recognized them. It had called them by name. It knew what they were. Toma looked at the water. His reflection stared back. He felt something inside him, something strange and strong. He could not explain it, but it was growing. Mira looked at him. You're thinking again, Toma nodded. They know us, Mira. The machines know who we are. Mira sat beside him. But how? We never saw them before. We never touched them. Why do they care about us now? I think we are part of something old. Something they remember. Mira frowned. You mean, like a story? No, said Toma. Like a key, a piece of the past that they need to find again. That evening, Raku called the group together. Under a large tree. The sunlight came through the leaves in soft colors. The group sat around the fire, quiet and listening. Raku looked at their faces. We are alive, that is a gift, but we cannot just run. These machines are not animals. They do not hunt for food or fight for land. They are following us for a reason. Kuro stood up. Then we fight them. We build traps. We throw stones. We show them we are strong. Raku shook his head. No, this is not a battle of strength. This is a battle of knowing. We must understand them before we fight them. Toma stepped forward. I agree. I think they are trying to send us a message. Raku turned to him. What kind of message? I don't know, said Toma, but I feel it inside. When I touched that machine, I saw something. I saw a light. And I heard a voice. It said, return the memory. The group looked at one another. None of them spoke. Toma continued. Maybe we are the memory. Maybe we carry something inside us. Something they lost. An old female from the group, named Saya, stood up. Her voice was soft but strong. When I was a child, my mother told me stories. Stories of fire in the sky. Of creatures made from light. She said we came from them. That our people were not just born from the earth, but from the stars. Many had heard these stories before, but few believed them. Now with the machines awake, the stories no longer felt like just tales. The group sat in silence. The fire cracked softly. Raku stood. Then we will not run again. If there is a message, we must hear it. Early the next morning, Toma, Mira, and Raku left the camp and began walking west, back toward Fire Valley. They moved carefully, avoiding open land. They crossed streams, climbed rocks, and stayed low under trees. After 2 days, they reached the edge of the valley. From the hilltop, they saw it. The black figure was still standing near the same broken trees. But now there were 2 others beside it. 3 machines in total. All were tall, strong, and still. Toma took a deep breath. They are gathering. Suddenly, the machines turned their heads. They were facing the hill. They had seen them. Toma raised both hands. We do not come to fight. The machines did not move. Then the one in the center spoke. You are the echo. You carry the core line. You are remembered. Raku stepped forward. What do you want from us? The machine answered, we do not want. We are programmed to protect. The memory of the builders lives in you. You are the seed. Toma frowned. What is the seed? The seed is the beginning and the end. It is the fire of the first. It is the mind that made us. You are their children. Toma looked at Raku. They're talking about our kind. Our ancestors. Myra whispered. Are they saying we are from the builders? Toma stepped closer to the machine. What do you need from us? The red light on the machine's chest blinked faster. We need the core. The core is lost. Only your blood can open the path. Suddenly, the ground beneath the machines opened. A large platform rose from below. It was made of metal and stone, glowing with blue lines. A doorway appeared in the center. The machine said, step forward. Enter the chamber. The past waits. Raku looked at Toma. We came to understand. Now the choice is yours. Toma walked slowly toward the doorway. The platform was cold under his feet. The machine did not move. Inside the chamber, the walls were covered with lights. Strange shapes moved across them. At the center, there was a tall crystal, pulsing with soft white light. As Toma stepped closer, the light grew stronger. Then, a voice spoke, not from the machine, not from outside, but from inside his own mind. You are the living key. You are the last echo. The builders made you in their final days. You were sent to survive, to begin again. Toma's eyes filled with tears. The truth was clear now. His people were not simple creatures. They were born from something greater, something lost in time. The machines outside stood silently. The crystal flashed one final time, and then dimmed. Toma walked out of the chamber. Raku and Mira waited. What happened? Mira asked. Toma looked at her. "We are not the end. We are the beginning." The machines turned away and walked toward the cliffs. Their mission was complete. They had found the seed. The memory had returned, but the story was just beginning. The days after the chamber opened were quiet. The machines no longer followed the group. They returned to the cliffs and stood like statues, still and silent. But inside the minds of Toma, Mira, and Raku, nothing was quiet. The message from the crystal had changed everything. Toma walked with new strength. His eyes had seen the truth. His blood carried the memory of something ancient, something powerful. The builders were not a story anymore. They were real. And he, along with his people, were part of that history. Back in the forest near the river, the group waited. When Toma returned, they all gathered around him. "What did you find?" one of the mothers asked. "Did the machines speak again?" A young hunter asked. Toma nodded. He stood on a flat rock so they could see him clearly. Mira stood beside him, and Raku watched from nearby. "I entered the chamber," Toma said. "There was a crystal. It spoke to me. Not with words from a mouth, but inside my mind. It said we are the children of the builders. We carry the memory of those who came before." Some in the group looked confused. Others seemed afraid. Kuro stepped forward. "What does that mean? Are we machines now?" Toma shook his head. "No, we are living. We are flesh. But long ago, the builders made us. Not by mistake, on purpose. They gave us life. And when their time ended, they sent us here to this land, to this time, so that one day we could rise again." Saya, the old female, smiled. "The stories were true. My mother said we came from the stars. Now I know she spoke with truth." "But why now?" asked Kuro. "Why are the machines waking now?" Toma looked at the sky. "Because the world is changing. Again, and they were waiting for a sign. The machines are not here to kill us. They are watching, waiting for us to remember who we are." Mira stepped forward. "Then we must prepare. If the past is returning, we must not run. We must grow. We must become more." That night, they sat around the fire and spoke for many hours. They shared old tales and new thoughts. They planned to build stronger shelters, to watch the land from higher ground, and to send small groups to explore far beyond the forest. Days passed, then weeks. The group began to change. They worked together to shape stone tools more carefully. They started using fire not only for warmth, but for protection and cooking. They began to draw marks on rock walls, shapes of the machines, stars, the chamber, and the builders. These marks told stories, not only for them, but for those who would come after. Toma trained the young ones to observe, not just to hunt. Mira taught them how to hide, how to track, and how to use sharp sticks in clever ways. Raku taught them how to lead without fear, how to listen before speaking, and how to keep peace in hard times. Then, one evening, something unexpected happened. As the sun fell and the fire began to burn, a sound came from the edge of the forest. It was a deep tone, soft at first, then stronger. Everyone looked up. From between the trees, a strange creature stepped forward. It was not a machine, but it was not fully like them either. It walked upright, taller than Toma, with long arms and skin that glowed faintly under the moonlight. Its face was calm, and its eyes were not wild. The group stood ready, holding sticks and stones. The creature stopped a short distance away. Toma raised his hand. "Do not attack." The creature spoke, slowly and clearly. "I mean no harm." Its voice was different, gentle, yet strong. "I am from the far side of the mountains," it said. "My kind has watched the machines. We saw the lights. We saw you walk into the chamber. We thought your kind was lost forever." "Who are you?" Toma asked. "We are the line of kin, descendants of the first branch. We were made after your kind, but we lost our history, until now." The group looked at one another. They had never heard of this tribe. Why come now? Reiku asked. Because you carry the core. The machines speak again. They send signals into the sky. Something is coming from beyond the clouds. We do not know if it is friend or enemy. Toma stepped forward. Then we must work together. You remember part. We remember part. Maybe together, we can become whole again. The creature nodded. Yes, that is why I came. The next few days were filled with learning. The visitor, who called himself Lanu, told them about the line of kin who had lived in the caves across the mountains. They had found broken machines long ago, but never understood their purpose. They feared them. They stayed hidden. But now the signs were too strong to ignore. Toma shared what he had seen in the chamber. Mira showed Lanu the drawings they had made. Raku spoke of the old stories that Saya had passed down. Slowly, a new idea formed in their hearts. They were not alone. They were not weak. The blood of the builders flowed through them. And that blood held power not in weapons, but in memory, in knowledge, and in unity. Toma stood one morning on a tall rock and looked across the forest. A new sun rose over the land. He turned to the group. Now stronger, larger, and wiser. It is time we stop hiding, he said. It is time we rise. Not to destroy, but to lead. The builders made us for a reason. Now we must become what they hoped for. The wind blew gently through the trees. The machine stood silent in the far cliffs. The stars above blinked softly, as if watching. And far beyond the clouds, something moved in the dark sky, something that had not visited Earth for a very long time. The sun had not yet risen. A soft gray light covered the land. The forest was quiet. No birds sang. No wind moved the trees. It was as if the world held its breath. Toma stood on a hill with Mira, Raku, and Lanu. They looked up at the sky. For many days now, strange lights had appeared in the night. Some moved like stars but changed direction. Others blinked red or blue and vanished without sound. The machines near the cliffs had become active again. They stood taller. Their eyes glowed brighter. At night, they sent beams of light into the sky. These were not attacks. They were signals. Lanu, the visitor from across the mountains, spoke softly. They are calling to something beyond the clouds. Are they calling for help? Mira asked. Or for orders, Raku added. Toma's eyes stayed on the sky. Maybe they are calling the ones who left. Lanu looked at him. The Skybringers? Toma nodded. The builders. The ones who made the machines. And us. They stood in silence. Later that day, the group gathered near the river forest. Children played near the water. The adults sharpened tools, built new shelters, and told stories on the stone walls. Since learning the truth, they no longer feared their history. They were becoming something more. Toma spoke to the group. We came from the builders. That is clear now. Their machines know us. The machines protect us. But now something else is coming. What if the ones coming are not like the builders? Kuro asked. Toma replied. Then we stand together. We use our minds, our unity, our strength. At sunset, the sky turned red, then purple. Stars began to appear. But this time there was something new. A bright shape moved across the sky. It was not like a star. It was bigger. It left a trail of light behind it. Slowly it came closer. And then it stopped. Everyone stared in silence. A low sound filled the air. Not loud, but strong. The ground did not shake, but their hearts did. Round shape, dark and wide, floated high above the valley. It had no wings, no fire. It moved without sound. Lights circled its sides, blue, green, and gold. The Skybringer has returned. Lanu whispered. Children hid behind their mothers. Warriors picked up spears. The elders held each other's hands. Toma stepped forward and raised his arms. We are not enemies, he said to the sky. We are your children. The round object hovered above the cliffs where the machine stood. Beams of white light came down and touched the machines. Then, a voice came, not loud, but clear and heard. In every mind, you live. The seed has grown, the core line remains, we see you. The people stood still. Even the wind seemed to stop. Toma spoke. Why have you returned? The voice replied. Because the world changes. Long ago we left to protect life, but now others come. The Dark Ones, they search for what we hid. Lanu stepped forward. Who are the Dark Ones? They are not like us. They do not build. They take. They destroy. Mira asked, do they come here? They already come, said the voice. They will search the earth. They will sense the machines, and they will sense you. Toma looked at the people. Then we must prepare. Yes, said the voice. You are not alone. The machines will protect you. We will guide you. But you must learn. You must awaken the rest. Where are the rest? Toma asked. The voice replied. Beneath the stone, in the deep caves, in the land of ice, in the sea mountains, we left them sleeping. Now you must wake them. Toma's heart felt heavy but proud. We will. The round objects slowly rose higher and disappeared into the sky. The light faded. The night returned. The next morning, Toma called a meeting. The group sat under the trees. Raku, Mira, Lanu, Kuro, and Saya joined him. Toma spoke with strength. We now understand our path. The Skybringers returned to warn us. A danger is coming, but we are not helpless. We are the seed, we are the core line, and others like us sleep across the world. Raku nodded. This is not the end of our journey. It is the beginning, Lanu added. My people will join you. We will search together, Kuro stood. I once doubted. But now I see the truth. I will fight if I must. Mira said, we will do more than fight. We will awaken our kind. And we will rise. Over the next days, small groups were formed. Some would go to the mountains. Others would cross the river. Toma and Mira would lead the search into the deep caves north of Fire Valley. Lanu would return to his people with news of the Skybringers. Before leaving, Toma stood once more at the high rock near the river. The group gathered below. He raised his voice. We were once afraid. We were once lost. But now we carry the memory of the stars. Our blood is not weak. Our hearts are not small. We are the beginning. And we are not alone. Cheers rose from the crowd. Children smiled. Warriors stood tall. The machines in the cliffs turned their heads and watched in silence. And high above the clouds, the Skybringer ship moved slowly around the planet, watching, waiting, and guarding. The last hope of the builders. But in the far corners of the dark sky, other eyes were opening. The Dark Ones were coming. And they would not come in peace. The time of hiding was over. The time of rising had begun. The moon was full. It hung over the valley like a silent watcher. The forest below glowed silver in its light. Toma stood at the cliff's edge, looking at the machines. Their tall bodies shimmered. Their eyes stayed on the sky. Behind Toma, Mira, Raku, and Kuro prepared their weapons. These were not just stones or sharpened sticks anymore. The machines had taught them how to shape stronger tools. Spears with shining tips. Shields that could hum with strange energy. They had learned much. But time was running out. The Skybringers had warned them. The Dark Ones were coming. These beings were not like the builders. They were hunters of life, seekers of energy. And they had found Earth. Far to the west, Lanu's group had seen lights in the sky, red lights, moving fast. And then silence. No birds, no wind. Just the heavy quiet of something coming closer. Toma spoke to his people that night. Fires lit the gathering. Shadows danced on the trees. The Dark Ones are near. We do not hide. We do not run. We are the core line. We are the first children of Earth. This land is ours. and we will protect it. Mira stood beside him. We will not fight with hate. We fight to survive. To awaken our sleeping brothers and sisters. We fight for the future. Raku added, and we do not fight alone. The machines are with us. The Skybringers are watching. We are ready. Suddenly, a sound rolled across the forest. Low and deep, the ground shook gently, trees rustled. Then, a beam of red light flashed in the sky. It came from the west. Then another. Then more. The sky turned red. From above the clouds, dark ships began to descend. They were not round like the Skybringer ship. They were sharp, black, long like spears falling from the sky. Lights blinked across their bodies, red and cold. The first ship landed beyond the cliffs. A loud thump followed. The machines near the edge turned. Their eyes grew bright. They stepped forward. Toma and the others rushed to the front. The warriors stood beside the machines. Their hands held new weapons. Their hearts beat fast. Then the enemy came. They were tall, dark figures, thin, with long arms and legs. Their eyes glowed white. Their bodies seemed to bend the light around them. They did not speak. They moved in silence, like shadows with form. Of them stepped forward. It raised its hand. From its palm, a crackling wave of red light shot out. A machine blocked it. Sparks flew. The machine staggered but stayed standing. Toma shouted, "Now!" The warriors charged. Spears flew. Shields rose. The machines moved forward with loud steps. The battle began. Mira fought beside Toma. Her spear struck one of the dark ones. It screamed without sound and vanished in smoke. Raku threw a shining disc that bounced between two enemies, cutting through them both. But the dark ones were many. They moved like wind, fast, cold, without mercy. One machine fell, then another. But for every one that fell, the humans stood taller. Toma saw a group of enemies near the sleeping cave. If they reached it, they might destroy the unborn core line. He ran with Kuro, blocking the path. Kuro swung a heavy weapon made from crystal and stone. He struck one dark one and knocked it down. Another tried to pass, but Toma threw his spear. It hit the enemy in the chest. The figure burst into light and faded. Above them, the Skybringer ship appeared again. Its light was golden and wide. It covered the valley. The voice returned. "You fight well. The core line awakens. We bring help." Beams of golden light shot down. They struck the ground, and from each beam, a figure rose. These were other core children, like Toma and Mira, but different. From the sea, from the ice, from far lands, they joined the battle. Together, the old and new core children fought side by side. The machines formed a circle. The enemies pushed in, but they could not break through. Then the sky cracked. A deep, thunderous sound tore the air. The largest ship of the Dark Ones began to break apart. Blue fire covered it. It fell into the sea beyond the cliffs. A wave of smoke rose high. Cheers filled the air. The Dark Ones, seeing their ship fall, began to vanish. One by one, they turned to mist and disappeared. The battle was over. The valley was quiet again. Broken trees lay on the ground. Smoke rose from the edge of the forest. But the people stood. Tired, bloody, but alive. Toma fell to his knees, not in pain but in thanks. Mira held his hand. Raku sat beside Kuro, both smiling despite their wounds. The voice from the Skybringer returned once more. "You have done what we could not. You have protected the seed. You have awakened the core line. You have proven that life once begun can rise again." Toma looked up. "What happens now?" "You will lead," the voice replied. "You will grow. This world is yours once more." The golden ship rose slowly and vanished into the stars. Days passed. The machines helped rebuild the village. The new core children learned to speak the tongue of the valley. They shared stories of their dreams, of the Skybringers, and of other lands. Peace had returned, but the memory of the battle remained. The people built a stone tower on the hill. On it, they carved the story, the war, the return, the unity, and the victory. Children gathered near the tower each evening. Elders told the tale of the sky, of the machines, of the dark ships, and of the humans who stood tall when the stars watched. Toma sat under a tree, looking at the stars. We came from the stars, he said. But now we are the protectors of Earth, and no one will take it from us. And so, the story of the black Australopithecus was no longer a mystery. It was a truth, a beginning. And the fire of humanity, once just a small spark in the dark, had become a light that would never fade.